The Helix Spire, a floating research citadel suspended above the electric storms of the gas giant Redefines, was the galaxy's foremost hub for dark energy mechanics. Its obsidian towers pulsed with containment fields, stabilizing the volatile equations that powered the Vynari collective's hyperlane networks. The Vynari, crystalline beings whose prismatic bodies refracted speech into chromatic light patterns, had spent 800 years attempting to reconcile the Etheron conundrum, a paradox that prevented stable dark energy harnessing beyond 15% efficiency. Their best minds had failed. Their brightest scholars had resigned. And now, a 17-year-old human from Earth's Martian colony was about to dismantle their assumptions. Ava Kessler had been on Erytheon for 2 weeks. The Vynari tolerated her presence as a diplomatic gesture, a gesture that had gone poorly since she'd accidentally insulted the Grand Archivist by asking if their glowing was like mood rings. She spent most of her time in the Spire's sub-basement labs, where human interns were relegated to cleaning quantum conduits and recalibrating plasma filters. The Vynari considered humans mechanically adept, but intellectually negligible, a prejudice Ava had stopped challenging after her third failed attempt to join a seminar on relativistic entropy. The conundrum appeared on her tablet at 3:42 a.m. local Erytheon time. She'd been troubleshooting a glitch in the Spire's holographic interface when an unsanctioned file surfaced. The Aetheron equations, their variables cascading in fractal patterns that made her temples throb. The core issue was clear. The Vynari treated dark energy as a static force, but Ava recognized the same flaw she'd seen in her high school physics textbook, Quantum Dynamics for Teenagers, a book her mom had co-authored. "Dark energy isn't dark," she muttered, sketching a correction. "It's just misunderstood." The equations began to shift. By dawn, Ava had rewritten 37% of the Aetheron model. She'd replaced the Vynari's rigid, zero-point anchors with a dynamic quantum field matrix that treated dark energy as a living, fluctuating medium. Her tablet's hologram flickered with a new problem, a temporal feedback loop that would destabilize the Spire's core if left unchecked. She didn't notice the security drones. Grand Archivist Ixurak arrived with a retinue of sentinels, their refracted voices sharp crimson. "Human, you've accessed classified equations. Do you comprehend the penalty for data theft?" "I didn't steal anything," Ava said, her tablet still glowing. "I fixed them." Sirak's prisms dimmed. "Fixed. See this term here?" She pointed to a term labeled RX9. "You're treating dark energy as a vacuum constant, but it's actually a probability cloud. On Mars, we solved this for solar battery tech in 2079. The Sentinels emitted a low, ultraviolet hum, Vynari laughter. Sirak's left facet cracked faintly. "Your species hasn't achieved fusion ignition. You dare lecture us on energy mechanics?" Ava shrugged. "My dad's a mechanic on Phobos Station. He taught me that if something leaks, you patch it, not worship it." She turned the tablet toward him. "Run this revised tensor. It'll stabilize the feedback loop." Sirak's refracted light turned green, the Vynari color for condescension. "A human scribble will not." The Spire's alarms blared. A holographic projection materialized. The central reactor's dark energy core was destabilizing, its efficiency collapsing toward 3%. If unchecked, the Spire would implode, dragging Erytheon's upper atmosphere into a singularity. Sirak's sentinels froze. "How do you know this?" "You didn't isolate the observer variable," Ava said. "Dark energy responds to measurement. Every time your scientists check the core, they're collapsing its wave function into a lower state. Stop looking at it like a machine and treat it like a quantum ecosystem." Sirak's retinue dissolved into a kaleidoscope of panic. The archivist stared at Ava's revised equations, then at the dying reactor. "Implement her model. Now." The stabilization took 19 minutes. When the alarms ceased, Ava's hands were shaking. She'd never seen her equations projected on a galactic-scale reactor before. The Vynari gathered in stunned silence as the core's efficiency stabilized at 89%. Impossible. Ixurex's light dimmed to gray. The conundrum has always required compromise. Not impossible, Ava said. Just bad engineering. She tapped her tablet. You guys are like the 19th century Europeans who kept building steam engines without understanding thermodynamics. You've got all the parts, you're just not listening to the system. Ixurex's central prism pulsed violet, a Vynari expression for existential dread. You've rewritten our foundational science. What else have you overlooked? Plenty, Ava admitted. But I'm kinda jet-lagged. Can I crash in the reactor room? It's got great Wi-Fi. The fallout was immediate. The Vynari Collective convened an emergency summit, broadcasting Ava's solution across 14 star systems. The Erethian incident, as it was dubbed, became galactic gossip. A human child had done what 144 Vynari Nobel equivalents could not. On Earth, Ava's mom received a call from the Pentagon. Mom, your daughter just revolutionized dark energy. We're concerned about her safety. Tell them to chill, her mom said. She'll be home for winter break. Ava didn't return to Mars. The Vynari offered her a Nexus Fellowship, a lifetime research pass to their archives. But the real surprise came from the Drakken hegemony, a warlike species that had previously dismissed humans as oxygen addicts. Their warlord, Krath the Unyielding, arrived in a battleship shaped like a clenched fist. You will teach us, Krath growled, his translation collar hissing. Your species' weakness is its strength. Oh, what? Ava asked. The Drakken require your bad engineering, Ixurek explained. They believe your lack of formal constraints allows improvisation. Ava blinked. You want me to hack your tech? Yes. Cool. Can I get a drone that shoots holographic memes? Krath's collar translated the request as a weapon of radiant absurdity. He nodded. The story's second act begins with Ava on the Drakken flagship. The irony. The ship's AI, a sarcastic entity named CR-47, was her only friend. You're the first human they've let aboard, CR-47 said. They usually melt trespassers into slag. I'm not a trespasser. I'm their quantum consultant. Consultant. Right. You're the universe's first disposable genius. The Drakken's problem. Their FTL drives caused crew members to vanish into probability voids. Ava's solution? Treat consciousness as a quantum bridge. You're not navigating space, she told Krath. You're collapsing reality. You need a pilot who's okay being in 5 places at once. Ava trained a crew of neurodivergent Drakken, beings whose minds naturally oscillated between dimensions. The results were chaotic, but groundbreaking. Ships emerged from FTL not just intact but faster than light predicted. On Earth, governments scrambled. The Martian colonies, previously dependent on Vynari energy, began developing their own reactors using Ava's open-source equations. The Pentagon funded a program called Quantum Youth, offering scholarships to teens who could think like idiots. Back on Erethian, Ixurek confronted Ava. You've destabilized our scientific hierarchy. The hegemony now demands our reactor designs, all because you doodled on a tablet. Should've let me doodle sooner, she replied. The Vynari, Drakken, and other species gather in a floating arena. Ixurek presents a damning argument. Ava's equations violate the Oort prime axiom of closed systems. You've introduced chaos, he warns. Dark energy is no longer a known quantity. Ava steps forward, holding a paper crane she'd folded from a reactor schematic. Dark energy was never known. You just stopped asking questions. She unfolds the crane, revealing a new equation. This isn't chaos. It's a feedback loop. Your closed systems failed because they ignored the observer's role. On Mars, we call this the parent problem. Explain? When you monitor a kid too closely, they stop evolving. Same with dark energy. You've been micromanaging it. Let it breathe. The equation spreads across the arena. Variables that once resisted integration now flow like a river. The Vynari's holograms flicker. Krath roars, not anger, but a Drakken laugh. The oxygen addict speaks truth. The galaxy adopted Ava's quantum ecology model, blending consciousness with dark energy. Earth quickly becomes a tech hub, exporting quantum consultants to species that can't grasp the simplicity of her methods. But Ava's final scene is quiet. She's back on Mars, teaching her little brother to fold paper cranes. The trick, she says, is to never assume the paper knows what it is. He frowns. That's not how Mom taught me. Mom's a chemist. She'd melt the paper to study its atoms. But you? She grins. You're gonna make it fly. The crane flutters in the thin Martian air. The story ends with Ava's tablet pinging. A message from Sierra-47. The hegemony's reactors just sprouted sentient dark energy. You're welcome. She sighs, grabs her coat, and heads to the spaceport. Be back before curfew, her mom calls. Yeah. I'm saving galaxies, not skipping class.